In this video, we're going to talk about the final question of the band meeting. Is there anything that you desire to keep secret? And similar to question 4, this is a question that we encourage people to answer when they feel ready. Now, I do think it's helpful to acknowledge that you're never going to really feel comfortable answering questions 4 and 5. But when you feel that you can trust the members of your band to hold what it is that you want to share, I'd encourage you to take one step into that maybe discomfort zone and take up some courage and go for it.
Yeah, one of the things that as we were working on discipleship bands and working on a model that we felt like would work in modern day, we've learned a lot, of course, from John Wesley's model of a band, which goes all the way back to the 1740s. And this actually was his 5th question. A friend of ours, Kevin Watson, along the way, who had been practicing Wesley's model of banding for probably 20 years, said, it's not every time that somebody in a band answers this question, but it's often been his experience that it's in this question that as somebody shares something that they've been keeping secret for a long time, that great freedom and healing comes. We're going to talk in a few minutes about the fact that not all secrets are sin, or not all sin is secret. But the reality is that every single human being has secrets. We all keep secrets for various reasons. Some of them are as innocent as holding on to a birthday surprise for somebody, and some of them can be the darkest things a person can imagine. In the Alcoholics Anonymous community, AA, there's a common phrase that they use, and that phrase is, "We are only as sick as our secrets." The reality is that sometimes secrets can bear such a weight that they're actually making us psychologically, mentally, physically ill. Now, there's been some research done around secrets. I really appreciate a gentleman named Michael Slepian. He wrote a book called The Secret Life of Secrets, and most of what I'm going to say in the next few minutes is around his research. He defines a secret as the active intention to conceal information from one or more individuals. That's a pretty broad definition. But the real heart of the matter that he gets to is how actively are you working to conceal that particular secret? So, in other words, how often are you thinking of it? How much is it coming up in your heart? How frequently are you having to dance around this particular secret that you have? If the answer to all of those things is like yes and often, the chances are that that secret is weighing you down. Now, we believe that secrets that weigh you down are also weighing you down spiritually. And so the opportunity to share them in a safe space can be profoundly healing. In my own life, when I first started practicing banding about 8 years ago, I had a few secrets that I wasn't ready to share with my band. I always say to people, it's not a matter of having to share all of your secrets in the band, but have you been able to unload or share your secrets with another human being? When I first was banding, I chose to do it in a therapy office before I did it in my band. And doing it one-on-one in that space actually gave me the courage to share it in the band. Since then, I've gotten freer in that regard. But the point when we're answering this question, it's to ask yourself, is there a secret I'm carrying that I'm actively concealing or that is in my past that is still very much weighing me down? Now, we believe that not all secrets are sin. So in the book, The Secret Life of Secrets, Michael reveals that there's essentially 40 different commonly held secrets that are pretty universal for humanity. Most of us have probably 10 or 13 or 14 of these secrets in our life in some kind of capacity. But give us a few examples of a secret that would not be a sin, for example, from his list.
So some examples of secrets that might not be sin would be things like a personal story, an ambition, a financial situation, a preference that you have, a family detail, a surprise that you're holding on to. Maybe you're experiencing some professional discontent, social discontent, physical discontent, or if you have a past experience of a trauma that you have not shared with anybody yet.
Yeah, so those are examples of things that we might be holding on to or concealing that may be fairly innocent, or they may be, as dark as a trauma that you've experienced. But nonetheless, We're not necessarily talking about sins with any of those. Now, there's another category of secrets, of course, that probably does more overlap, and some examples of that would be things like harming someone or harming yourself, drug use, addiction, theft, lying, cheating at work or school, breaking the law, violating somebody's trust, sexual infidelity, and of course the list can go on, but that gives you a nutshell sense of secrets. Now the question is, why in the world would I want to share that with another human being? And again, I think it goes back to freedom. Sometimes when we're going through life and we're having to carry something and we're carrying that thing alone, it lends itself to isolation, it lends itself to loneliness, and it often lends itself to shame. This sense that if people really knew what I'm carrying or what I'm holding on to or what I know, they would shame me, or I would feel shame having revealed that. So the idea of a band is that you're not going to go around sharing your secrets with everyone. We encourage you not to do that, of course. But when you have a safe space that you can share weighty secrets, things that are weighing you down with another few individuals, we believe that it's a space that you can find freedom. So maybe let's talk about that experience in our own bands.
Yeah, I think one thing that's important to acknowledge, even just with this own question in my band, is I don't always have an answer to it every week, and that's okay. But it is something that's really important to ask myself, and I even like the way the question is phrased. Is there anything that you desire to keep secret? So sometimes I'll reframe that in my head and think, is there anything that I just would really rather not share? And sometimes there are things that come to mind, and sometimes there aren't. But I have found, even one particular instance is coming to mind right now, where it was probably more best described as a secret temptation that I was experiencing. I hadn't acted upon anything in my thought life or anything. It was just kind of this desire that was there that, if acted upon or entertained at all, would have moved into the sin category. But I thought, I really don't want to share this, but I'm just going to. I have this framework set up where I can share this in this space with these women. And once I articulated it, it was actually pretty amazing. It went away. Like it completely lost power over me. There was no shame in it. I was no longer embarrassed by it, and the desire itself went away.
Yeah, so again, this is not something that you'll answer every single week. Sometimes you can just simply say, I don't have anything on secrets this week. Or, is there anything you're desiring to keep secret? The answer could be yes. Yes, there is, but I'm not ready to share it yet. So we do just invite honesty. You can wait to answer this question. You can say yes. You can say, yes, but I'm going to start with a small one. And you can just sort of, creep deep over time. The issue here isn't whether or not you have secrets. The issue is whether or not you have a secret weighing you down, that sharing it would bring some extra freedom in your life. And so we hope that you will have the courage and the vulnerability to edge into this question when you're ready.